When someone complains that video games are too expensive, they are inevitably ridiculed. But when you take inflation into account, someone else chimed in, apparently unaware that even if a game that cost £30 in the 2000 seconds was now intended to cost £80 or some other figure, it still will be charged. £70 means millions of people are missing out when you look at the reality of life. In the UK, we are experiencing what is known as a cost of living crisis. This has meant rising prices for household supplies such as energy and water, as well as rising food prices, while wages have stagnated. For some reason, we all accept that this is life now instead of marching on the Capitol and burning it down like the French did. Revolutionary trends aside, this of course means we have less disposable income overall. Not to be outdone, 61,000 people used food banks in 2010 to 11. Just 10 years later, that number had grown to 2.5 million. The Trussell Trust, which organizes most of the UK's food banks, revealed in its latest report that their food parcel recipients had an average of just £248 a month to cover energy bills, groceries, council tax, and before even thinking about spending the money, such as going to the movies or buying new video games. Please understand that when I say video games aren't for the working class, I'm not talking about people who sometimes overdo it when booking flights for their Spanish holidays. I don't mean people who work very hard but earn a decent income from their efforts. I mean people who struggle to pay the bills, people who can't buy food for their children. Some of them also like video games, especially kids and young people, but the £70 price tag of each new release immediately tells you, this isn't for you. Video games are a basic art form for millions of people, and for those who can't buy, those who are left behind are missing out on these experiences and opportunities. Who makes games for working class kids? Who makes games that are actually affordable, not just adjusted for inflation, and actually fit? These are not rhetorical questions, and I will try to answer them. I'm not here to list games that are good value for money. If you spend 50 quid to start with, you'll get hundreds of hours of sweet content. I'm here to find ways to play games that are actually cheap. My first thought was the second-hand market. After all, this is where all my games grow. But unfortunately, the price has skyrocketed. I was looking at a niche Pokémon spin-off the other day and it spent £95. It's Nintendo and Pokémon, but it's a general trend. Older games have been relegated to collectible shelves, stripping them of their artistic value and making it impossible for players to enjoy them. You can pick up some games on the cheap. Titanfall 2, for example, is the best first-person shooter game ever made, and you can pick it up for less than $10 at most thrift stores. The problem is, you need a console to play it. Console prices have gone up along with game prices, and so have second-hand ones, which have doubled in price as older generations have gone retro. Computers are similar. Warzone, Fortnite, and Apex Legends are free-to-play games for everyone if they can afford a high-end console or a more expensive PC. This is before predatory microtransactions are made. A child playing a loot box simulator unsupervised can rack up huge bills in no time, a double whammy for low-income parents. So if consoles and PC are both good, what's left? The answer is mobile. Mobile gaming may be the future, especially for working-class gamers. There are tons of free or very cheap games you can play on your phone, from Call of Duty and Clash of Clans to Pokémon Go and Marvel Snap. While many still suffer from the same microtransaction issues as the aforementioned online games, they are viable gaming options for players without disposable income. The only problem is that they close. Just this week, EA announced that it is shutting down Apex Legends Mobile and canceling the Battlefield mobile game in development. Games these days have to consistently generate more and more revenue every year in order for shareholders to consider them a success. A stable profit is no longer enough. Everything has to be swept unsustainably until it can no longer be earned. And here we come to buckets full of bloody, pus-filled colactate is the accessibility game permanently off. And Netflix games, although sharing it against a consumer account doesn't help. Most homes have a phone or TV, and games here are usually free or included with a subscription. If you have Netflix, you can play Shredder's Revenge, Point Beat, Oxenfree, Kentucky Route Zero, Spiritfarer, Immortality, Into the Breach, and my top game of 2021 for free. That's not all it has to offer, just a few games that caught my eye as I scrolled through the impressive list. You may notice I didn't mention Game Pass. As long as Xbox Cloud games work on mobile devices, I don't see how someone who queues at a food bank every week can earn £10.99 a month. We often forget that Game Pass games aren't actually free, and we pay over £100 a year for the pleasure of unlimited access to them. For millions of people living on the brink of poverty, this is not a sustainable solution. The gentrification of used consoles comes into play here again, as an old Xbox One can easily set you back £150. Games are expensive. Brand new games and brand new consoles are out of reach for millions of people. The used market is doomed, for lack of a better word. Free-to-play games are being shut down due to relentless pressure from investors. Some some things need to change. Shorter games that cost less to make would be a start, but somehow I don't think cutting the next Call of Duty campaign in half will be reflected in the price. I don't have all the answers, I just know that right now, in 2023, millions of working class people are locked out of the hobby in every possible way they turn to. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and support my channel.